Hello everybody and welcome to the first podcast style thingamajig Push Square has ever attempted. My name's Ben, I'm the video editor at pushsquare.com. Joining me is editor Sammy Barker.
Hello everyone.
Associate editor Robert
Hello.
Ramsey. You didn't let me finish. It's fine. Just crash me. And Ben, other Ben, let's get Ben Tarrant, staff writer.
Hello.
How you doing? We good?
I'm good, yeah. You've been badgering me into doing this for ages, so we thought we'd better give it a go.
Yeah. How long's it been now? Over a year?
Yeah, it's felt like that long. I've been asked weekly by yourself, when's the podcast going to start?
Well, this isn't a traditional podcast, is it? Because it's just us talking and then some video underneath.
That's right.
My hastily shot video
That's
from
right.
a handycam. But we're at EGX this weekend in London, at Earl's Court, and they have games there, and we've played some of them.
And we're actually all in the same room for once, which is
yeah.
uncommon.
Yeah. How are you feeling, Rob?
I'm alright, I'm just
You excited?
Yes.
You excited for
I'm
this?
excited for this.
Excellent.
I'm trying to block the pain until we're finished.
A lot of what pain?
My back pain.
It's been a tough few days walking around.
Much
Yes,
queuing.
yes.
We need to put you on wheels.
Well, that would be ideal.
Just wheel you around.
Yeah.
It's such a hard life just playing video games all day.
I know. And having to hang around with people who also like playing video games.
No.
Must have been awful for you as well.
Yes.
Anyway, let's kick it off with a game that someone has played.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about something, Sammy?
Yeah, well, they announced OlliOlli 2.
Okay.
Welcome to Olliwood is the subtitle,
Really?
which is the second game from Roll 7. They did the other OlliOlli, which you may remember. It was
that one
really,
on Plus? The first one?
I don't think so. I don't
would have
think
played
so.
it otherwise, actually. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. It's very much an evolution of the first game.
Yeah.
It's coming to PS4 and Vita this time straight away. And it's a lot of trick flicking again with the analog stick.
Yeah.
It's still got the rub your tummy, pat your head mechanic where you have to hit X to land your tricks, which makes it a little bit trickier for newcomers like our Robert here, who struggled. But
He sounds thrilled as well to be talking about it.
The really cool thing is that they've added 4-player multiplayer, so you're all working together. You've got 60 seconds to bag as many tricks as you can, and that seems like it's
Local 4-player.
Yeah,
Cool, yeah. It's
I
a
think-
side-scroller, right?
yeah. It's a side-scrolling game.
Is it like Trials then, with the multiplayer? Where you're all on different planes?
No, you're all on an individual. You're all in your own subset of the OlliOlli universe, and you're on your own, and you've just got to get as many tricks as you can in 60 seconds.
Right.
But they've also added new things, so you can do manuals which you couldn't do before. So now, if there's a big distance between two rails, for example, you can keep your trick combo going by doing a manual, and then you flick into another grind, and then you flick off, and you just keep going. So I imagine experts are going to be just training entire 60-second runs and netting some massive scores this time. But yeah, I mean, it's not ever going to rival your big blockbusters or anything like that. But as a fun downloadable game, 2 platforms, it just seemed really, really enjoyable, didn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. Like when we were doing the multiplayer, just kept going on it. Like,
that's it. It's got that one more go thing, hasn't it? Yeah. You can imagine before you go out to a pub or something, or even after when you come back, just keep playing it, and it would just the hours.
Well, I'd only played 5 minutes of the original.
Yeah.
So and I couldn't stop playing.
Yeah, you were already.
I mean, I desperately wanted to beat you, but
yeah, that's never going to happen, was it?
No.
You weren't very good then, Rob.
No, I was decent for a newcomer, I like to think. But
yeah,
I was like, I'd have equal points with Sammy, and then suddenly you get 30,000 out of nowhere, and I would have.
Well, that's
no
the
chance.
beauty of it, because you don't get the points
like
until
until
you land your trick.
yeah.
And
so if you chain a really long one,
and that's it.
you
And
just get a lump sum of points at the end.
Yeah, and if the time runs out, you have to. It's like the weakest link. You got to say your bank. You got to get your bank in right before the clock ticks out, and you won't get the points if you don't put it in.
Right.
So yeah, it's just good old fun, really, isn't it? I think that's the appeal of it.
excellent. Starting with an indie game.
Yeah, of course. What else would we start with?
Everybody likes it.
Indie apologists. Push Square, the indie apologists. Bloodborne.
Ooh.
It was there,
It was.
and it was hard.
I'm stepping out of this conversation.
So, Robert, Ben, we all played it.
Yep.
We queued up for how long? It must have been
About 40 minutes.
Yeah, for how long did you play it for, Ben? It was
I
the
lasted
record.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. We only had one life.
Yes.
Or one death, I should say.
One death,
and then they
you're
just kick you out.
Yep.
So yeah, we don't
About
really
as cool
have
as
that
it
much to talk about, to be honest. Because it looks incredible.
Yeah, it does look amazing.
Feather physics, yeah.
The cape physics are stunning.
Shake
So
your
good.
tail
Stunning.
feathers. Yeah, the speedy character. There were 4 character classes, weren't there? There was normal, heavy with a sword, which I thought was a bit strange, and then speedy speed. And speedy speed had tail feathers, and they were all animated, and it was beautiful.
It didn't help with the witch doctor beak.
It was weird, wasn't it?
Very
It was a really
alien appearance.
weird design, but it's Dark Souls on PS4. Almost exactly the same control scheme. It's
Yes.
so fluid, a lot faster now, and obviously you don't really have a shield now. You have a gun,
Yeah,
and the speedy character has sort of, rather than the shotgun thing, the blunderbuss, they have this little pistol. And it feels really cool to hit off, 3 sword strikes, and then they've got a little bit of health, and you just
And then quickly
flip out your
knock someone
gun and
back,
just finish them off with it. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it is like a sort of
It knocks them back, gives
Exactly,
you
it
enough time to get a
staggers
quick
them.
stab in.
yeah. But
It was pretty cool with if you didn't want to use the pistol, you could do a thing called transformation, and you could transform your secondary weapon into
Yeah,
another
you tap
weapon.
L1 if
Yeah, and
it's
you
just so
you
satisfying.
get 2 swords.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool, like
Yeah.
dual wield your little sword instead. Give you alternate movesets.
we all spoke about the environment as well. The level design was
Really
just
very nice.
just gruesome. It was
Yeah.
just so
So menacing.
yeah. I mean, I would say horrible, but it was beautiful and
Yeah.
just incredibly well done. But it was a place you didn't want to
Yeah.
be at all. It was creepy as hell. All these abandoned carts and
So
sort of
many
like
coffins.
But yeah, it was
Yeah.
borderline steampunk, but without sort of the thing that makes steampunk. But you know
Like
what I
the
mean?
cyber
It was,
kind of-
yeah, it was
yeah.
Victorian, but it was sort of futuristic Victorian in a weird way, like alternate universe Victorian. And I got absolutely mauled by about 10 or 15 people that
was
jumped me at
unrelenting.
once.
Yeah.
And then I got shouted at by a PR lady when I tried to play it again. Like, no, you only get 1 go, you go, after a 40-minute queue, and then.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's a Japanese developed game, and over the past few years we've started sort of to see the Japanese developers as kind of a second tier. They're not on the level of sort of Naughty Dog and that, but this is on that part. And
Yeah, Japan Studios finally in it again.
well, and it's from
From
software as well.
yeah.
But yeah, Japan. I'm sure Japan Studio
Yeah.
is helping to get it looking that good. And I think the other thing is it's out in like 3 or 4 months,
Yeah,
5
yeah.
months.
Isn't it
something
good when
like
that happens?
which is incredible, really. And I think a lot of people have been wondering, oh, it's coming out so soon, it's going to be rushed or whatever. But I think this is what Sony's doing now, is they're waiting and waiting and waiting, and then they're announcing it just when it's ready, and now it's got a super slick run up to launch now. Everyone's excited, and they don't have to wait long to play it, which is
It's
far better
excellent.
than
Clever tactic.
I think is his name Hidetaka Miyazaki.
The
He was
director guy.
he was the head honcho on Demon Souls and the first Dark Souls.
That's
And he
right,
was
yeah.
notably absent from Dark Souls 2, so they've clearly been working on it.
Well,
for
the rumours
some time.
of a Demon Souls 2 have been going on for a while, and this is what it is, and,
Yeah.
and so yeah.
He's a real talent. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just it's horrible. It's horrible and it's really hard. So I can't wait.
yeah.
I still not. Do we know if there's going to be co-op yet? Has that been confirmed?
I think they've teased it in trailers and stuff like that.
So that's
but
almost certainly.
Yeah, I think that'll be one of their last big PR pushes before release. You know, They'll-
Die again with friends.
exactly, yeah, exactly.
Right, what do we got next then? The Evil Within.
Yeah. So one horror game to a sort of another horror game. Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, this is the new game from Shinji Mikami, who obviously did famously for Resident Evil and particularly Resident Evil 4. And it is, to me, it is what Resident Evil 6 should have been. It feels like the sort of natural evolution of that series. Obviously, it's not got the branding because he's gone off and done his own thing. He's done Vanquish since as well. But yeah, what to say about that game? It's a weird one, isn't it? It's going to be divisive, I think.
It's obviously got heavy feet in Resident Evil. It feels very Resident Evil. I felt the weight on your character felt quite Dead Space as well. It
Yeah.
was quite clunky, but almost in a good way. The kind of we were saying earlier about how the pistol mechanic almost goes first person.
Yeah, it's very strange. If you remember in Resident Evil 4, you'd have a little red laser coming off your gun, and that was how you aimed. In this one, it does almost go first person, which is quite jarring the first time it happens. Personally, I didn't have an issue with the aiming. I got used to it straight away, but I think that's something that people are going to find
I personally
weird.
found it quite nauseating.
Yeah,
I only just watched it and it looked really janky.
It was quite
when
choppy.
I was just watching
the build
it,
that we were seeing was quite choppy.
Yeah,
I got a feeling it's old.
It doesn't look next gen either in any way. Going from Bloodborne to that is startling difference. But obviously that was announced as a PS3 game first, I think. So
I did like some of the details though. Like if he was getting clawed or hit by something, he'd kind of grab onto himself.
Yeah.
And he'd kind of stagger away. And I saw him get decapitated as well, which is a bit
split.
Didn't he? Yeah, it was a bit disgusting.
Someone was playing. They were backing away from an enemy. And then suddenly the screen went red, and his front half just flew across the room. What the hell happened?
Yeah, I didn't see anything like that. I was obviously staying safe throughout my demo. I think the thing for me with horror games is, if I find myself edging along like the character would, then it's working for me. If I'm starting to run through the environment, then it's not working. I was checking all my corners, looking for enemies, scouting them out, and I was having a good time with it, but I can see that it is clunky. It is very clunky, and I think the other problem they have is that they're coming after The Last of Us, and they're coming after PT, which have kind of changed the game for horror games now, and this feels like it hasn't really evolved that much from where Resident Evil 4 was. So it's going to be interesting to see how it's received on a wider scale.
I previewed this a few months ago, and it was a PC build, but they assured me it was very close to what the PS4 version is. Obviously, whether or not that turns out to be true remains to be seen, given the build that we saw it just earlier today. But I played 2 levels. One of them was the one they were showing off here, and the other one, I must say, was far more survival horrors. I'm a coward when it comes to these. I was the worst person to send, by the way, Sammy, just so you know, future reference. I was the worst person to send. But it was the first one. I was creeping around corners, but that mission, the level that they have on show here, it's like a haunted house. It's stereotypical haunted house. You have to go into the different wings to complete a puzzle, and that opens up the door in the main. You know, it's all very formulaic.
Well, they even parody Resident Evil at the very start of the demo. He walks in up to this mansion, he says, "Oh, I swear I've seen this mansion before."
Oh no.
So
I bet that's so much cooler in Japanese. It can't be cool in English. That's a shame. But that's out soon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's out in October, I think, but don't quote me on it. It might not be. But yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. There's obviously Alien Isolation, which is getting a lot of buzz. So it'll be interesting to see how it compares to that as well. It does feel like there's been a bit of a horror resurgence of late. We've already had The Last of Us, and there's been Outlast, and Daylight, which obviously wasn't very good. And then, and there's also Until Dawn coming up.
Tell us, Sammy. Tell us about Until Dawn.
Oh dear.
It's it's so bad that it's good. It's the best way to describe Until Dawn. It feels like imagine
Sammy Barker's dream game.
Exactly. It feels like they made a game designed for me. So this is the game that was announced for Move about 3 Gamescoms ago. It was
a long time ago.
And you can tell it was designed with Move in mind. It uses a lot of the gimmicks of the DualShock 4. So you'll be looking at keys with the controller. There's even one bit where they give you control of the character's head and she can just look around and you can point the torch.
What, like Sackboy? So you're just whacking
it's exactly like Sackboy, yeah. It's exactly that. It's exactly that.
You would look more terrifying than some of the monsters I remember with your head. You played Beyond Two Souls, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know the wobbly head people?
Yes.
The undead frozen wobbly head people? Which is something that you can only find in a David Cage game, by the way. That doesn't make any sense. That is what I imagine this would be like. Walk around this house with your head just going blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned David Cage, because this feels like if David Cage didn't take himself so seriously, this is the game he would make. It's so stupid. I mean, it references Twitter. The characters actually say "omg" out loud and mean it in an authentic kind of way. It's so ridiculous. But like I say, it's so bad it's good. I mean,
do you think it knows that it doesn't take itself.
I think because they say they were going for teen horror originally, I think that's what they're going for. I genuinely believe it. I don't think they would put that kind of dialogue
is it like
in.
the video game equivalent of Scary Movie, or
Yeah,
is it?
it very much seems that way to me. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be full on comedy, but I think it's not meant to be taken seriously at all.
Yeah.
I mean, the antagonist, from what I've seen in the demo, appears to be one of the insane clown posse. So that tells you all you need to know.
I see.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think people that like Bloodborne and are into that kind of mechanical hardcore game, they're not going to like this. This is a Telltale game, if you will, that kind of thing. You're going to make decisions. They say that that's going to have consequences and there's going to be different endings.
Can you tell me about the ridiculous, extreme question it posed to you during this level that you played?
Yeah, so
it's just laughable.
So throughout the demo, you're following these characters, Ash and I forget the other character's name, but
Misty?
that doesn't matter. Possibly, yes, possibly. Yeah, and you get the impression there's a kind of a romance there, but they're kind of everyone's kind of a high school student kind of thing. They've gone to this cabin in the woods. It's kind of first teenage holiday away from parents kind of thing, and they're all going to get it on kind of thing. And you get this idea that as they're walking around, there's a bit of romantic tension there, and they get captured by the clown man, and he kind of acts like a Jigsaw from Saw or whatever. He's kind of playing a game with them, and he's kind of like, they finally admit to each other that they love each other, and they're kind of like, we've wasted so much time. And then the man says, right, here's a gun. You're going to have to shoot yourself or shoot your potential partner. And the demo ends when you pick which one. What are you going to do?
How ridiculous is that, though?
They
don't even know each other very well, do they?
Well, I think the idea is they're kind of high school friends and they've kind of grown romantically attached. So I think they do know each other. Yeah.
You haven't yet described what's going on above their heads.
Oh yeah, there's saw blades above their heads.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's like, shoot yourself in the face, shoot this potential partner in the face, or I'll just put you through the saw blade.
But infuriatingly, that's where the demo ends, and I was like, well, what happens to them?
Dum, dum.
I mean, it'll be hard to judge from a demo, but is there a chance that it's going to be so silly that you won't actually care what happens to them?
I don't know, possibly, but like I say, I wanted to know what happened next, and I guess that's a good sign, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I think the only problem it's got is, you mentioned Beyond earlier, and that had the full mocap with Ellen Page and stuff, and you could believe the characters; they seemed real, right? But here it feels very awkward. It feels like it's been hand animated, and it stands out. The graphics are really good.
Well, the graphics are Guerrilla Games, aren't they? Like an engine.
It's the Killzone Shadowfall engine. Yeah, the graphics are really good. Yeah, but you get a kind of uncanny valley because they're moving a little bit strangely. I don't know whether that's because it's early. I'd love to know whether they plan to mocap it. I think that's the hang-up of the Move Origins, to be honest. I think that's what's happened there.
Do we have a release date for it yet?
They're saying 2015.
Oh, that's a bit vague, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, at least it's back in the public eye now.
Exactly.
You've played it.
Exactly. I can confirm it is a game. It's being made, and it will hopefully release one day.
Yes, brilliant. You should be PR for somewhere. It's coming. It is. Get ready.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, The Order. Big PS4, PlayStation exclusive.
I think we can all agree that it's probably the best looking PS4 game so far.
I have not even seen it.
Oh, it's ridiculous. You'll be introduced to these characters. They're in a sticky situation down the street, and classic kind of cinematic. You run up and what's the situation? You lean into a kind of pillar, and then you're playing.
Yeah, it's seamless.
It's completely seamless.
Even in Naughty Dog games, there's a disparity between the cutscene and the quality in the games, no matter how good their games look. And here, there is nothing. The cutscene and the game, they're the same.
Unbelievable.
It's incredible. It doesn't even judder or anything, does it?
I literally had to question, like, why is Galahad not moving? And I was like, oh, because I'm not playing.
Now, Robert, I know you have some problems with it potentially, but before we get there, explain what happens in this demo then. What do you do?
It's the same one as what? The one that they showed on Twitch for like that 20 minutes?
Yeah. They've been showing this bit for a while. It's the section where you're kind of in a street, and it seems to be the first time you get to use the thermite rifle, which is one of the guns in the game.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, so the reason me and Ben liked it is because it felt a bit Insomniac-y.
Yeah.
It seemed like there was a gimmick to the gun, and we're sort of hoping that all the guns are going to have kind of this gimmick. So with the thermite rifle, you're shooting clouds of this gas or something, and then you're lighting it up with a flare.
Yeah.
But alternatively, you can fire a flare first and shoot the gas at it, and it'll explode in a different way. So you're kind of killing...
Fire.
You're not actually aiming at the enemies,
No.
you're kind of aiming above
Which is
them.
something that people got wrong all the time.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody in that booth was trying to shoot the enemies.
I think that's one of the problems they've had. They don't communicate
No.
that. So straight away, if you're trying to aim at your
You
enemies,
treat it like an assault rifle, and it's not.
yeah,
an
it's
assault
got a
rifle.
massive spread, and it's just going to feel like the aiming's all over
Yeah.
the place. But there is a set piece kind of sequence, and you thought the aiming was still dodgy there when you're using a
Well,
pistol.
I can understand they want to make the guns seem quite old-timey.
Yeah.
You know, like, so when you shoot, it's going to go within a radius around. There's no pinpoint crosshair that you always know you're going to get a headshot, or you always know you're going to hit a certain part of the body.
Yeah.
And there's a bit where you're dragging the officer across the street, and if you miss, it's only about a 2-second gap, but if you miss one guy that comes out on the balcony, an enemy, you'll throw a grenade, and it's a cutscene, and you're dead. And that's it, and you just go straight back to dragging the guy again.
As soon as you told me that, that seemed exactly like a David Cage game.
Yeah,
Except in a
it's a
David
little-
Cage game,
yeah.
it carries on regardless.
Yeah.
So you like get shot in the shoulder or
But
something.
I can
carry on.
see if you've got aimants like that, and I had the pointer right on the guy's head, and and the bullet went just right of him, and missed him completely, and I got grenaded. If that happens on a more difficult scale, it's going to be really frustrating.
Yeah, it's going to be basically it's Dragon's Lair then, isn't it? You know, you didn't press the button at the right time.
Yes,
This
yeah.
the story over. You got to try it again. I agree. I think that is a problem, but I mean, I didn't have that, so I
No,
can't really
I
comment.
didn't have that
I
either.
killed those guys, no problem.
Yeah.
They were dead and gone. But yeah, I think a lot of people's worry with this game is that it's going to be too cinematic.
It's going to be
Yes.
too scripted.
And I mean, we can't really say whether it will be or not until they
No.
either show more or we actually play the full game.
The only other thing that worried us was the fact that it feels a lot like a shooting gallery. There's no dynamism
Yeah.
to the actual shootout.
It's just
The
like-
enemies appear in the same place every time.
Yeah.
They'll stay there until they're dead.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's essentially one piece of effective cover that you stick to.
yeah.
So it's not like if you replay it, well, assuming the whole game is like this, or to an most of it is like this, you're going to end up just doing the exact same thing even if you replay the game on every level.
I think the hope is that this is like chapter 3 in the game. I
Yeah.
think it pops up. So you may still be in kind of the tutorial stages. They're still setting up the world. They're still teaching you the mechanics. So hopefully,
Yeah.
when you get into later parts, you know, you're going to be fighting the half-breeds and these resistance guys who are kind of
Yeah.
against like these knights. It's such a brilliant setting and such a brilliant
Yeah,
concept, isn't it?
The art design is fantastic.
I think that's
It's really
why
good.
I think personally why I'm rooting for it is because I just think it's such a brilliant concept.
I mean, the setting's going to hook a lot of people.
Exactly,
For sure.
definitely.
it's so different and it combines all these brilliant assets. You've got werewolves, you've got Knights of the Round Table, you've got
Yeah.
Victorian London. It's amazing.
Topped off with
Steampunk.
steampunk.
But a
exactly.
lot of the full game's going to depend on a lot of factors if it's whether it's any good or not.
Yeah,
It's gonna have to have a good story to keep you playing.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to. Well, it may need big set pieces. I can't see them doing anything on Uncharted level because you don't have the mobility of.
I would expect some Uncharted set pieces in that game, to be honest.
But is it gonna be as interactive as that though? Because with Uncharted, you're always jumping or climbing or moving, and that you're not very mobile.
No, but I can see some big set pieces in that game. I can see Big Ben crumbling to the ground and you jumping out of it or something like that.
They've
Quick
got a
time
lot of
events
scope.
though.
Yeah.
It'd probably be a quick
That's
event.
what worries us. I feel
Press
like
X
a
to
lot of
survive.
people are going to play this and just say,
Well, the bit they showed at E3 with the werewolf man, and he was running away from it, wasn't he? Down
Yeah,
the corridor.
that's really scary.
That was all playable. So I think it's one of those ones where it's fingers crossed. Let's hope they pull it off. They've delayed it a little bit, so they've got a little bit of extra time. Let's hope it comes together. The potential's there. Can they pull it off?
Yeah, very much so.
Right. My favourite game.
"Oh,
WWE
The Smackdown.
2K15. The niche indie title that will still go on to sell millions and millions of units, despite being quite incredibly niche. This is the first year that 2K's impact has been felt on the game, since they got it when THQ crumbled.
Is it still Ukes, or is it a different developer?
I think Ukes have been helping,
right,
but this is
The
largely
rules
2K. What was this? You said the studio name.
Visual Concepts.
Visual Concepts, yeah, have been. I mean, the mocap is there. Graphically, the entrances look incredible now. The wrestlers are just so much more realistic.
So much sweatier.
The sweat is unbelievable. They used to have the ring be like way too big. It wasn't to scale compared to the size of the wrestlers in the game, and they've now finally got that sorted. And I've been playing with Robert.
Yes.
Robert is not a wrestling fan.
No.
We've
not
played
at
this.
all.
We've played this 6 times in the past 2 days.
I don't dislike wrestling, but
You don't know anything about it.
Nothing whatsoever. I mean, the last wrestling that I got into was when I was about 8, and then WCW used to be on Channel 5 at like 8 PM. That was the last wrestling.
while ago,
Yes,
days.
it was.
I remember SmackDown on the PS1. That was the one I played.
Which one? The first
The
one.
first SmackDown. Everybody at school had
No, you're wrong.
WWF
Was
SmackDown.
It was PS2 maybe.
And I remember playing that one quite a lot, but I haven't played a wrestling game since that one.
Yeah.
Never owned one.
Get
Shoot me dead.
But it's so much fun.
It is.
That's the thing. It's a proper, the way wrestling works in real life, if you will, because obviously it is predetermined and scripted. But the way the momentum swings back and
stage
forth
by stage
between the two people in the ring is incredible. If you play with, it's not difficult to pick up either.
No.
We both got used to it after a short time, and the second match we had was amazing.
Yeah.
The way, you know, I would have this huge offense and you'd be lying down there.
As soon as we had a grip on the controls, it was just back and forth.
Yeah, as soon as you understand how to counter it,
It felt like a theatrical performance.
yeah, it was
It
good.
felt like we were part of a.
And they had this momentum, but don't sigh.
No, I think that's probably the biggest praise you can give it, because from what I've seen of wrestling, you know, like you say, it's scripted, but
Yeah.
they want you to think he's going to win, but really he's going to come back.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
oh no, he isn't, he's going to come back. And like what you're saying there sounds exactly how it
reversals,
should
yeah.
be.
We were sitting shouting like idiots.
We were.
We
And
really were.
The stamina
fantastic.
bar has really, I think the way they've done the stamina and an actual health bar.
Yeah.
You still get the damage indicator on you know a sort of an image of a body, but you have sort of a fighting game style bar, which is green, and then when it goes down it gets to orange, and then when it goes down it goes to red, and you know, you slowly, the more damage you do, it goes down. The more hurt you are and the less stamina you have, so you could have full green health, your opponent could have sort of middle orange, they're half beat up to hell. But if you've got no stamina, you're going to start stumbling about for a bit until you get it back. But the best moments are the later stages of the game, where you've both
Yes.
got a finisher, you're both reversing one another, but your wrestlers are so exhausted that when they're throwing these weak ass punches and they're all falling to one knee, and then it just takes one person to hit a big move and they're both down and out, and the person who hits the move just crawls slowly over to the opponent, just puts an arm over the chest
Yeah.
and gets the 3 count, and it's just immense fun.
It seemed like there were a lot of options as well. When I watched you two playing, you know, one of you was looking under the ring to get a chair out,
Oh, yeah.
while the other one was kind of ripping the commentator's box to shreds for some reason. And yeah, it did look really good for what it is. I guess if you're into it, it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread.
Oh, seriously! I always look forward to the WWE games. This year they have a proper career mode down from their NXT developmental territory right up. You build all the way up to the main roster, which is what I think a lot of people have been wanting for a long time. But the fact that they've finally got the wrestling right is the important thing.
Yeah.
Because you used to just be able to get a chair and wail on an opponent just endlessly until they couldn't move, and then you would just pin them and they couldn't kick out. But now, because you know your wrestlers get tired as the match goes on, it does become this back and forth, and it does swing around, and I'm hugely looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's in good hands, isn't it? I mean, at 2K, they completely transformed the basketball franchise as well, didn't they? So they know what they're doing, and I think everyone's rooting for them to take on American football as well, because they used to have an American football franchise when it was Sega, and now it's just Madden. I think everyone's hoping that they'll come back and take Madden on, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. DriveClub. Have we all played DriveClub?
Yeah. I haven't played it yet. I'm sort of waiting to get the final version.
Ben, tell us about DriveClub.
Well, in the PlayStation area, we fell upon the PlayStation Plus lounge.
I've still got my VIP wristband.
Also wearing mine with pride.
Unlimited Haribo and free
It was
bottles
fantastic,
of water.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
PlayStation water, no less.
Yes, PlayStation branded water. It was blue.
And they had two TVs of DriveClub with nice little racing chairs.
Yeah.
They were debuting 3 tracks.
Mm-hmm.
With different kind of track conditions, so we had we played quite a really nice vista. It was in the mountains, dry track, dry leaves on the sides. When you drove past them, it sort of kicked them up, almost confetti style.
How good does it look? Is the question.
Amazing,
Just incredible.
Because before E3 last year, after E3 last year, we went to an event to play it. I went to an event to play it, and you could tell it was nowhere near finished. I knew then that it wasn't coming out at launch, and obviously they've had now a year to work on it, and it just seemed to get better every time they released a video. It got better and better and better, but it never stopped. It just got better and better and better and better, and it's like they've just knocked it out of the park with visual. It's just unbelievable, and the stuff they're doing with the tech. Like, I don't know whether you actually can see it in the demo, but they're simulating clouds and all sorts of crazy stuff. It's mental.
Rob saw me play it last year,
yes,
and I was rubbish at it.
It was very rough last year.
It was really, really hard.
That was even before they announced it. I mean, they announced the delay late, didn't they?
Yeah, but it was proper sim back then. As in, you did one thing wrong, you would spin.
Ben was just spinning.
It wasn't fun. That was the problem. And that's the problem I have to an extent with Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't any fun. And this year, it doesn't feel arcadey, but you can drive it. You can drive it, and it is a lot more accessible.
I think that's been the goal. I think they've wanted to get it so it still feels like you're driving a car. You're not playing Mario Kart or whatever. But you know, it's still accessible, like you say. And it's good that they appear to have got there at last.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they've got the balance right. Definitely.
When's that? Which month is that coming?
That's
to
next month. It's
next month.
It's coming. It's in a couple of weeks from the time of recording.
Well, try it before you buy it. Quite literally.
That's it. That's it.
You've got nothing to lose.
That's it.
Next on our amazing list of games that we have played, LittleBigPlanet 3.
Oh.
Well, when we first walked past that demo, Robert was like, "You've played one, you've played them all,"
and I take it back. I fully take it back,
which is an incredible statement. I'm glad we're recording it because we'll never hear that again.
It's adorable.
It is
absolutely adorable.
You thought LittleBigPlanet 1 and 2 were adorable. This is just ridiculous.
We didn't even get to play as Sackboy. We played as
new characters.
Oddsock and
Toggle.
Tubbs. Yeah, Toggle.
Toggle.
But it's just great. It's like what's the Oddsock?
Yeah,
it's really fast.
Yeah, so it runs at walls.
I don't think that they're all going to be sort of character-specific levels. I have a feeling that these were sort of the introductory levels from the game for the characters.
They may also have been tailor-made as
I mean, you had to use.
I suppose. Given what LittleBigPlanet is, they absolutely could do that. Couldn't they? They could have made an EGX level. If
like you said. They didn't seem especially memorable.
The level, there were no like set level design.
Yeah, so it's possible that they were just there to show off
tutorial
the mechanics. But it's going to add so much for not just the campaign, but also what creators can do. Because like you were saying, Oddsock, he can run up walls and you can do like wall jumps, and then Toggle. He brings a load of brilliant options because he can be big and heavy and then small and light, so you can dive in water and he can sink to the bottom, and then you make him small and he'll jump back out of the water. The best
thing is that he doesn't so much float on the water as he runs
on
the water.
It looks fantastic.
He's incredible. But it's going to be great. It's going to be really good.
I think that game is not getting maybe as much attention as it arguably deserves.
Its reveal was superb as well.
Yeah, but I think
where they just showed the logo and then everyone cheered.
It was that little delay where people were like, what? And then the cheers came. But I think that's a good game for Sony to have in its lineup this year.
Absolutely.
Because you look at the competition and they've got a lot of more mature game, shall we say, and it's a cutesy, cuddly, family-friendly game, but it's also got the depth of the level creation, etc. that you know, that hardcore players and big fans are gonna get into it. And that's the thing with LittleBigPlanet 3. Yeah, it's going to be good at launch, but what's it going to be like in a year? What's it going to be like in 2 years? LittleBigPlanet 2, I go back to that and it still blows my mind what people have made with it. So
yeah, the levels that are made are insane.
Yeah, it's incredible. I remember when LittleBigPlanet 1 and people started making cutscenes out of it, and you're just like, how is this even possible? And then they kind of build the tools around what exploits people are using.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it gradually...
Well, they hired people, didn't they? They hired the best and brightest from their own community.
Yeah, which is mental, isn't it, really? And this one, it even has a use for the share button in that you can create trailers to put on your levels. So if you're like, I don't know whether I want to play this level, I'll watch the trailer before I load it up. It's mental.
That's awesome. Now, from one incredible game to another, SingStar Ultimate was also at the show. This had 2 stations at the Sony booth.
Yes.
How many people played it?
I saw 0 people playing it.
I saw 2 women playing it, and
really,
yes, and neither of them could sing because of background noise. So it was
no,
utterly pointless.
I saw people actively avoid. They were walking around this sort of social barrier that meant that they had to acknowledge its existence.
There was one poor Sony employee who was standing there and had to watch over it for the duration.
And I don't think any of them are employed by Sony, to be fair.
Oh, the EGX
event people. Yeah.
I think they do train them though, because they seem to know what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, they have to. I think they get portfolios of
buzzwords.
These things. Yeah, buzzwords, water cooler moments.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Water cooler moments. But no, that's not going to be one that I'm going to buy. I don't know about you guys.
No, but it's like we were saying with LittleBigPlanet. It's one of them ones that's a good one to have in the lineup. It's a good one for, you know, you've got Call of Duty and whatever for the typical gamer person, but you know, what about family and friends? Well, SingStar has always been a good option, right? I bet it sells well again.
It always sells, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's super popular in Europe. I can't believe it never took off in Japan, to be honest, because they love karaoke.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Unity.
Ooh, it looks good.
We didn't get to play that.
No.
But we did see a sort of 10-15 minute walkthrough of that was being played. So it
was a live demo this year. Unfortunately, not playable.
Looked great. I've been bashing it since it got unveiled, because I was talking to you recently about it, Sammy, about how a lot of the recent Ubisoft open world games feel like they come off a conveyor belt. It's like it's got to have these side missions and these things, and there's got to be this amount of stuff to distract you, and especially the Assassin's Creed ones. I feel like I've played the story before.
I asked that question in an interview for The Division about how do they feel about that, and the kind of the PR person that was sitting in the interview, they would give me like a dirty look. I don't know whether they're conscious of that or they just genuinely don't agree, but I totally agree. Even the crew, not to get too off topic, but even the crew follows a similar format, and that's a bloody racing game.
But when you've got studios that huge as well, you've got to imagine that they just pass ideas around all the time.
It feels like they've got studios to make specific bits.
Yes, and
you're the specialist at putting collectibles in the world. You go and do that bit.
Oh, imagine being that studio.
Yeah, but sorry, carry on with Unity. You were down on it at first, but
yes, this trailer, this gameplay turned me around. It was a really cool mission.
Yeah, you had to assassinate
It wasn't eavesdropping then.
No, not quite.
There was
not quite. Well, that's the exciting thing. They say that it's the black box design. I know they keep saying that, but they've said it for every Assassin's Creed before. You can tackle missions how you want. This time you can really tackle. You can go in and just butcher everyone, but supposedly the combat's a lot harder. So
it was Notre Dame. And, you had to get
Notre Dame, depending on where you're from.
There has been a trailer of it, a YouTube video of it put up of the same gameplay, but seeing it being played live gave you a bit more dynamism to it.
Well, it's cool. All the options available to you became a lot more obvious, and the way that they could choose to go and get the keys to unlock the window to then stealth in.
The way in,
but I especially like the bit in the confession booth where you make the final assassination.
There's just a quick time event. You can just let him get on with his speech and then stab him.
But you can let him talk and then you can shove.
It's gruesome, isn't it? That kill was pretty gruesome as well.
And the escape. How he ran and it was like, I'm going to press this
button
on the wall and the sewers are there.
And then he runs through the sewers.
Was it co-op or was it just...
No,
that's the thing they said, but he did say that, you can play through, I can't remember if he said all of it, or you can play through the missions.
I'm pretty sure he said
missions in co-op. The thing that turned me off about Assassin's Creed Unity is I thought the co-op was awesome. Really, really cool idea, and I know that's that may be just a flash in the pan thing at the moment. Let's put co-op in everything.
Yeah.
And I'm all for that if it works.
Yeah.
And it looked like it worked in the demo they showed at E3.
Yeah.
But here it was at the end of that one of those demos at E3 where they said you won't be able to do all missions in co-op. And then I thought, I kind of want to run around the entire city.
Yeah.
But I got a real Assassin's Creed 2 vibe from him going into Notre Dame and sneaking around the top of this ancient building that I think has been missing from recent Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
But
The draw distance.
It's a weird one, isn't it? It's like we were saying with Assassin's Creed. You kind of don't get excited about it until it arrives, and then you're suddenly like, wait, I really like Assassin's Creed, and this looks like a good one. That happened last year with 4 as well. I went into it with no expectations, and
Especially not after 3.
Well, yeah, 3 was the disappointment, wasn't it?
I mean, that was like what, alpha build? Did they say it was alpha?
It was in between alpha. It was like what they call post-alpha.
Yeah, but it looks stunning.
Yeah.
The draw distance was brilliant.
Yeah,
when you stand on the rooftop overlooking Paris, and the streets are absolutely bustling as well.
Then, to be
You
fair,
can
there were a
hardly
few
move
issues with the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
There was they sort of were on a cycle. They'd wave and their hand would then jump back and they'd start
And there was a guy stuck in the table.
oh
There was
that
a guy
good.
just glitched through the table.
He did say that it was early code.
Yeah,
It
did
wasn't
stress
finished
that, to
yet.
be fair.
And
sure
this
that
guy was
fits
just
that.
sort of, he had a table through his midriff and he was just vibrating.
happens to us all.
No, who hasn't been in that situation before? Dragon Age.
Yes,
It's here. Have you played it?
yes, I had a little go.
You're the only fan of
I had to
Dragon
play
Age
it with an
in the
Xbox
world.
One controller. That was a problem.
I don't know what one of those
Yeah,
is.
No.
So-
It's just an alternative third-party controller.
Oh, is that?
for the
Yeah.
PS4.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
It's USB, right? So
Yeah, that's it.
Plug in and play. As the only fan of Dragon Age in the world, could you please
Yes,
explain
especially
why
on Push Square.
why this is what it is, who, why,
Who, why, what, when?
when, where, and how?
Okay, well, it was co-op, which surprised me because I thought it would be like a vertical slice of the gameplay that they've already shown. But it was the co-op mode, which is a little bit like Mass Effect 3's co-op mode, and it hasn't received such a backlash that Mass Effect 3's got from fans because Mass Effect 3's ended up being bloody brilliant.
And also because no one cares about Dragon Age.
Oh come on! The queue was absolutely gigantic to be fair.
Yeah, it was, to be fair.
And BioWare are doing this to try and win people back. That's the thing, because BioWare fans are incredibly loyal, and so many people felt let down by Dragon Age 2 and the issues it had. So with this, they're going all out, and it feels like it, because even in that state, it felt very polished. I was playing with a few people who really looked like they'd already played it a few times, because they were so much better.
They just had beards and
Yeah,
foliage growing.
there was
like
like
wearing a Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
t-shirt.
But you had like a little dwarf warrior and his little two-handed axe, and you had this mage woman. It was like the basics, and it just felt very. It looked like it could really be a good time.
So how does it work? Because obviously in Mass Effect you're shooting things.
Oh well, I
ostensibly.
mean, they're always going on about how you can have a tactical view for like the RPG purists who want a
Yeah,
more
I
tactical
remember the
combat.
original one was very much
It was
based on
you
that,
could
wasn't it?
pause time, issue commands to your friends, and then execute. that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Obviously, you don't really have time for that in the co-op
No.
because it's live. So it's all very action based, but at the same time, it all works on numbers and damage multipliers and that kind of thing. So it's more mathematical and more strategic than Mass Effect was
Right.
because it's an RPG. But at the same time, I can see anybody that likes kind of just after loot and roaming. Little
Are you
kind of
fighting
areas.
like orcs and stuff like
You're
that?
fighting enemies from the game, and
Yeah.
essentially what was happening in this demo was the breach happens, and when the breach happens, enemies come out of it.
Right.
And it's like a breach between the Fade, which is like a spiritual kind of ghostly
Is
world.
that like where the space buses show up in Destiny?
yeah,
those
it's
portals.
kind of, yeah, but
Space pirates.
so basically these rifts open up, and then the enemies pour out, and then you kill the enemies. So it's kind of a bit like waves.
Yeah, right.
And then you move on to the next area. But the thing is, all the maps are procedurally generated.
Right.
So they're all like different bits. So every time you play, you're going to get a different experience.
So is
Yeah.
it open world then? I'm a bit confused by Dragon Age.
The single player's open world, yeah. Well, it's not open world.
So
but
so the co-op is not part of the main story.
no.
It's an additional thing.
The co-op,
okay.
I mean, it's called Dragon Age Inquisition. So you're part of this Inquisition. In the main story, you're the head of the Inquisition. And in the co-op, you make your own character who is part of the Inquisition, so you work for your main character. So it ties in like that, but it's not like Mass Effect in the sense that, by way of stress, that it doesn't affect the single player. You do not have to play the co-op. But I can see it being a...
In the DLC, you're the accountant.
Yes, maybe.
And then you're his dog of the accountant of the Inquisition.
But I've got high hopes because I think BioWare are really trying to throw absolutely everything they have into it to try and stop the franchises from dying a horrible, horrible death.
Well, what have they made since Mass Effect 3?
Nothing.
And that was very good, but it disappointed a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they really are on a bit of a losing streak at the moment.
Yeah, especially the Dragon Age team.
Yeah. The losing streak is in they're an exceptional studio and the games just weren't quite up to people's expectations. They weren't bad games.
Yeah.
I think yeah. I mean, we've took the mickey out of it. Well, I have took the mickey out of Dragon Age a bit, but I do accept that people are excited for it. So, do you think there'll be like sticker packs like in Mass Effect? And
I'm not actually sure how that works. I know you get loot drops. So it's a bit more. It's like you upgrade your armor and you carry on from that. So it's not
there's
like
going to be a persistent. What I'm trying to get at is there's going to be a reason to keep playing.
I can see it being an absolutely huge time sink for people who want to get into it.
Yeah,
and it complements the story because you get better at the combat and it allows you to try out different classes that your main character isn't in the single player.
And there's kind of that story link that you mentioned, kind of.
So the world ties in together.
A loose link there. Yeah.
But it was very good. It was very good.
Cool.
Last game we got to talk about, Far Cry 4, which I don't know if you two have played.
I saw enough of it. Yeah.
Ben and I played this.
We had a go.
There were 3 different approaches you could take. Which was you did a couple, didn't you?
I did 2 of them. There were the 3 approaches to liberate this this fort. The one that we saw.
Like Ubisoft Sable there.
Yeah.
Yes, they're not all the same. Honest.
There was a stealth approach where you just go in and you stealth. You're given silenced weapons, a silenced submachine gun and such.
You stealth them up, bruv.
Yeah, exactly. And the second option, which was the one I immediately gravitated towards, was to ride an elephant in with a heavy machine gun. So naturally, I
was the heavy machine gun strapped to the elephant? Or
no,
I was going to say.
You're riding the elephant without hands. You're just like straddling it, shooting people.
That's the sexiest thing I've ever heard.
Straddle that elephant.
Effluent. But that was cool. When you were running up, when you managed to, when you saw how far you could kick someone, you run into it, he just flew off across and hit
just like knocking him with your trunk.
Yeah, it
worked out how to sprint with the elephant, and that was it.
Elephant sprinting game of the year.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And then the third option was flying, so you were given.
That was hard.
You did that one, didn't you?
Yeah. You think of all you can think of is Rise of the Valkyries when I mean, and you're just lobbing grenades.
You
down,
were humming that whilst you were
doing it.
I was
because it fits so perfect. I'm amazed that they don't have that. But I mean, Saints Row the Third would.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping because Far Cry 3 didn't take itself too seriously.
It's kind of like a little radio channel.
Yeah. Especially if you've got this sort of mad guy that's keeping close tabs on you. Like you would think that you would be in constant radio communication. He would play that over the radio. So I thought this might be appropriate. Yeah, I got my ass kicked. I crashed and died basically. Oh no, I didn't. I was getting shot at, and then I jumped off.
Out.
I did my wingsuit, flew down towards this building, opened a parachute, and then rolled right out the door. And then I had to come back in again. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I didn't see this. You could pick an option when I played it. I played it in the Sony booth, and when I played it, you could just put it on silent.
Go on, pigs.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could. When I played it, you just got a couple of weapons. You got like a cool little bow gun type thing, a bow and arrow thing.
Crossbow.
Crossbow. That's the word I was looking for.
The old go bow gun.
Yeah. And you got a sniper rifle. Yeah. And you
Sounds
just
like a stealth approach to be
a stealth approach kind of thing.
Sniper rifles aren't particularly stealthy though, are they? It's sort of like taking.
It was a silenced one.
Oh, well,
but yeah, I mean, if I had those options, I think I would have come away from it much more excited. I kind of just was like, yes, it's all right. You know, I mean, it looks good.
It looks very good,
and I like the setting. You know, this Karat, this Himalayan setting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't get to see any of that elephant stuff or throwing grenades from a hang glider or whatever. So yeah,
it was cool.
It was, yeah.
There
That's
were
coming out
things,
soon,
surprisingly.
there were things that weren't mentioned, that haven't been mentioned to a full extent yet, that we learned in the interview. There was the thing about factions and kind of
You're going to
like...
have to tune in to Push Square for the
Yeah,
exclusive
yeah.
interview.
What did he say about factions?
He
I
said
don't
he
remember
said
that.
he put an emphasis on choices. You could choose who to help out and things like that.
Did he
Far
really?
Cry 3,
Yeah,
it was
he did,
just
yeah.
it was just the islanders, wasn't it? But even then, you got caught and killed them eventually. Didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, don't put total stock into this, but he did mention that you'd be able to have choices.
I think, yeah, he was clear to say that, you know, like you've just mentioned, there'll be different options for every kind of way that you approach a mission. You'll have a different option,
Yeah.
and like we were talking to him, weren't we? And I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the nice man we spoke to.
Oh, it was very nice. Yeah.
But he was a senior level designer on it, and we were saying, how do you get, you know, people to explore all those options? And his kind of conclusion was, you can't, so you just have to make every option really, really good, and that way everyone will have a really good experience, which I think was quite a good answer, because sometimes you kind of get a game where they sort of, yes, they'll let you play stealth, but it's a bit rubbish, really, or you'll play a stealth game and they'll say, oh, you can go in guns blazing, but the guns don't really work very well.
There'll be a weapon that's far more effective than everything else. That's all you
Exactly.
use.
So if they can get everything to work, yeah,
It's a balancing act. It's a hard one as well.
I think it's going to be a bit like Assassin's Creed for me. I think it's just going to sneak up on me and I'm going to play it and I'm going, oh, this is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And
I think it's going to be one of those games I get in a sale just before Christmas, maybe, or just after Christmas.
Free on PS Plus.
Yeah, we're going to be waiting a little while for that one. Or, you know, some readers would have you believe we should have it at launch on PlayStation
I want
Plus.
Far Cry 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5 as my instant game collection in
Anything
November.
less is just unacceptable.
Yeah, don't give me OlliOlli 2.
Come on, guys, we're past that. Okay, wrapping things up. What was your favourite random thing you could do at the show? Sort of stand, booth.
Oh.
Oh, that's a hard question.
Well, it was, of course, it was the LittleBigPlanet 3.
I would
Make
have
your
to
own
agree.
cover for the game.
You could go and stand in front of a LittleBigPlanet screen. They would take your photo and then they would put it onto the cover of LittleBigPlanet 3, print it off for you onto, you know, a proper, I don't even know what
Photo
material.
card.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
laminated.
Yeah, and then you could put it in your copy of the game when you got
Very
it.
insert.
Which means we've got the box art, and by the way, it says it's PlayStation Move compatible, which
Where
is
is
a
it?
world exclusive.
There's one.
There's
on
one just on the desk over there.
Let's have a read.
Yep.
The problem is, it could be mock-up information, couldn't it? That's the only worry there.
It could be.
I didn't see it. You would have thought they'd have said something.
Yep, PlayStation Move compatible, PlayStation camera compatible, obviously.
It'll be, yeah, because they'll let you take your pictures.
14
and stuff
gig
to
minimum.
Install.
Yep.
It's not too
I
bad.
wonder if that is official information. That's interesting.
I mean, it's got all the trademarks and everything, so...
To be fair, it's like you said, it's not really getting the attention it deserves. So I don't think many people. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Really, this information.
Yeah.
Our cover is superb, though.
It is great.
That is...
Good old family
I
photo.
might put
brilliant.
up the photo in the video. Sammy, what was your favourite thing?
Yeah, I mean, I just like discovering stuff that I don't even know, because, you know, we're so in the bubble and we know about everything all the time, so it's a real great surprise when you see something you never heard of. So,
OlliOlli 2.
well, we hadn't heard of that, but I found this game called Minute or something like that I've never heard of, and I've looked on Google since and have found nothing about it. It's for PS4 and Vita apparently.
Yeah.
And it's all it is you control a circle, and you have to, there are black lines coming from all angles and coloured lines coming from all angles, and you have to change the size of your circle with L and R to kind of maximise how many of these coloured lines you can grab while avoiding the black ones. So you need to be small at some points, but you'll need to be big as well to get everything. Right. So it's kind of that bullet hell kind of feel, but without all the ridiculous Japanese projectiles going everywhere. And I just thought that was a really cool little game. I wish we could find out more about it. I went.
Did you get the details of the? Who was
I don't
demoing?
even know who's developing it.
Who was showing it? Was there anyone at the booth?
No, there was no one at the stand. So it was just one of those weird things. There was also another game, an indie game, which wasn't for PlayStation, but I'll just quickly mention it, which had 4 sliders, and they were all lit up with LED lights, different colours. And you've got, like, it's Flappy Bird, basically, but you've got to move the sliders up and down to get points. So when you move a slider objects or move on the screen based on which sliders you move. It's quite difficult to explain, but it's just one of those really cool ideas with a unique controller which will never come out because it's not feasible. But yeah, just a little cool little indie game. So yes.
Mine wasn't so much a game. I really enjoyed the Witcher presentation.
Yeah.
It was really good.
It was I mean, to be fair, it was gameplay footage that we've seen before. They did that 30-minute video that was up on YouTube a few weeks ago. But it was really big, wasn't it?
Yeah. Really.
Cinema almost experience. And
was it the Odeon?
No, it
had the bass though.
on the chairs. So.
The bass was superb. You felt every slice.
Sound was excellent.
Yeah.
And the presenter, whose name I have unfortunately forgotten, was
he
was fantastic.
Guy.
Senior designer.
Senior designer, very funny man. But it was a live, whereas the video was obviously not live. This was a live gameplay demo, so the combat was a lot more dynamic.
It was altered, yeah. He was showing all the spells off and everything.
Which was excellent. And obviously I'm quite excited for this game, so it was nice to see more of it. And he did plug the pre-order bonus that's available at the Game Stand in EGX currently, which is a digitally signed insert going on the LittleBigPlanet one. It's a kind of really nice foil insert signed by all the dev team.
It does look nice.
And it looks really nice, so I went and got that.
Nice.
No, but yeah, we didn't really talk about The Witcher because we didn't get to play it, but we all went to see presentations of it, didn't we? I think that game, if it's what they say it is,
if it delivers on the promise,
it will be incredible. But I'm sceptical of whether it's going to be what they say it is.
Well, I mean, The Witcher 2, it did live up to a lot of its promises, to be fair, and it was a very, very good game.
They're a Steam studio, aren't they? I mean, it's a bit of a weird one for us because it's never been on PlayStation before, has it? So it's the third game, yet it's the first one for most of us.
Well, they did say that they were developing something so that you could, at least for the Xbox version, where you could port, because they can't import save data, you can let the game know the decisions you've made. So I reckon we'll get, you remember the Mass Effect stuff?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, it sounds like that.
So we can make some decisions that influence the world before we
It will be interesting if they come up with some kind of mini game or something and like put it on PSN for free or something like that, and it could be used as a marketing tool kind of thing. Yeah, they were a bit coy about that, weren't they?
Yeah, well, there's lots of cool stuff, it seems, that they have planned that we just don't know about yet.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I'd like to see the other two ported. I mean, we're not, you know, I know everyone hates remasters, but, you know, it would be good.
As long as it's called The Witcher Remastered and not something stupid.
You don't want The Witcher Redux.
No, no, The Witcher Championship Edition. The Witcher... stupid, stop it. It's ridiculous. Very quickly wrapping up, quick fire from all of you. What's your favourite game that you saw and played? Or /played? Robert?
Well, the one that I enjoyed the most was WWE.
That's
Really?
amazing.
That is amazing. That is honestly...
That makes you no idea how happy that makes me.
I mean, and that was mostly down to Ben Potter, of course.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry for ruining you.
No, it was fantastic. It was great. We had so much fun.
Yeah.
And we drew eventually.
Yes, we did.
Matches.
We did. It was 2-1 day 1 to me and 2-1 day 2 to you.
Yeah.
Sammy.
Indie apologist answer is minutes. Proper answer is until dawn.
Right. Okay. Sammy Barker's dream game. Ben.
I'd have to say Bloodborne.
Really?
I was genuinely surprised.
You got demolished.
I got destroyed.
You played it for like, you saw like 5 frames.
I know, I really enjoyed watching you as well, because I came around and watched you. But
right, I didn't go much further.
No, but I've always struggled with Dark Souls, and I struggled less with this.
Yeah. Do you guys think that this is going to be the one that kind of like I'm in the same boat as you? Like I'd struggled with Demon Souls and then I never played Dark Souls. Do you think this is the one that's going to bring those give it another go kind of thing?
Sony are going to push this massively.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to know about it, and I think the fact it hasn't got a number at the end of it is going to bring people in.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. But for me, it's WWE 2K15.
Game of the show.
So Push Square's game of the show.
Yeah.
WWE 2K15.
What an upset!
Well done, 2K. You've won. You've won.
I wonder what the odds would have been on that.
Oh, I came into the show. That was what I wanted to play, which is the saddest
you
thing.
just said, Robert, do you fancy a game?
Come on, Robert. Come on, I was going to play it by myself, and then
No, I
there's
thought,
two
what the hell?
controllers.
To be fair though, it was one of the little bits that had no cues. You could just sit down.
It got
and
more
play
popular though. Did you
Yes,
notice
it's the
that?
word of mouth
It got more
spreading.
popular because of us.
Yeah, they only
We
had
put on
4
real
units
shows, honestly.
Oh, we
really
did. There was immense slowdown though, it must be pointed
Yes.
out. We couldn't, like when you were trying to kick out, because it's sort of like a golfing mini game where you have to hold down X and let go in the sort of the, and that gets smaller, the unit you've got to get it into as you get more hurt. He was holding down X and it wasn't responding properly because it was slowing down. I'm really hoping that's probably why they delayed it by a month, to be honest.
Yeah, that sounds like, you know, frame rate issues like that usually get fixed at the end.
It was a strange kind of frame rate issue though, because it went into
looked
slow motion
it
rather
was
than
perfect. It was flawlessly animated. It just looked like it was in slow motion, but it went to the extent that, and it went for so long that you thought this isn't right.
Yeah.
He was going.
That's a bit odd, isn't it?
So, guys, this hasn't been a complete disaster.
No, it was. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was
Actually,
good fun.
Hopefully we'll be able to figure out a way to get these done more often. Obviously we're all in different parts of the country, so it's quite hard to get these together. But it's been a privilege and an honour to spend this weekend with you.
Yeah.
And thank you very much to everyone who listened/watched this. Let us know how you feel about it. Comment in the box. Shout rude words at us if you will. Say what you didn't like and what you did like, and we'll try and improve upon it next time.
Please call us indie apologists as well.
No, you can call Sammy Barker as the indie apologist. And of course visit www.pushsquare.com because it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, and we'll have previews for most of these games as well.
Yes.
So if you don't like listening and you prefer reading,
Reading. Boring videos where it's at. Thank you very much everyone.
Yeah, pleasure.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Anyone going to say goodbye?
Bye.
There we go.